This is uh this is about Wednesday's phase. Wednesday food banks. I got three food banks I can go to on a Wednesday. One runs once a month. The other one runs every other week, twice a month. And the other one runs twice a month. Sometimes I can do two on one day. So the one that runs once a month is hard to get into. It's hard to get into because it's just 25 people that's going to be selected. So when you only have but 25 people, you got to be there early. Yeah, you got to be there early. Had the interruption with the phone. It seems that wanted me to sign in, make sure that we were still online. But anyway, you got to be there early to get on the list, the sign in list. And a lot of times you don't make it on time because they sign you in around 10 o'clock. People be out there early as 9:30, 9 o'clock sometimes, waiting to be first in line so they can sign in and be on that $25, 25 people or less list. There used to be 30 people, now it's down to 25. So they have so many boxes that they hand out. But they do have a lot of boxes, a lot of stuff in them boxes to hand out. But that's a whole other story. But it only runs once a month. So if you ain't on time, you miss out. So sometimes it takes about 2 or 3 times where you get on the list. But they have a lot of stuff they do give you, and especially from all of it comes from Forgotten Harvest. But they get a lot of fruit, a lot of bread. Those two the items they have a lot of, and they have a free for all for the fruit, and that's kind of interesting because there's a story behind that by itself. But they put it out there, and people they just the volunteers go first. They got it set up so the volunteers go first, and they put through the cream of the crop, of course, which they should because they have to volunteer and load the truck as well as to set up the boxes. And then what's left over go to the ones that's on the list. That's the second person up. They line it all up outside. It's an outdoor event. It used to be an inside event, but people used to talk so much stuff about this church because they still need a roof on it. And it'd be leaking on the inside when it's raining. So if you don't want to talk a whole lot of stuff about their facilities and how they're not maintaining them, they put everybody outside for that reason. They used to let people sit down on the inside and not have to be outside in their car or outside and come back. Because it'd be like a sign in at 10 and the truck wouldn't get there until after 12. And it could be anywhere from a 3 or 4 hour waiting period for the truck. So it's a part one, part two event. That's why I call events like that. When you sign in early and you got to wait for the truck to come, that's a part one, two event. So now they have people leave out the building because they were talking so much stuff. And wait in their vehicle or come back after 12 o'clock and wait outside. They cannot come back in the building. So that's what happens when you talk stuff. If just a few people, not everybody, it mess it up for everybody else. So when you come back in now, you got to go to Bible study at 12 o'clock. Then after that, you still have to leave out. And you get your goodies outside. Some people be waiting outside in their vehicles, or some people be waiting outside, period. So when they unload the truck, they put all the vegetables and the fruit, rather, they put all the fruit outside with the vegetables. That's raw. It's not in the can. So they have an outside right next to the door of the building, which it's a grassy area. So that's how they set it up outside. So it'd be on their property, but they have people lining up around it like vultures. I call them. They get in that vulture mode. And they'd be lined up to be the first one to grab some. And they tell people there's plenty for everybody. You just might not get the best one. All this stuff is old, and there's plenty for everybody. But people act like vultures about that fruit, fresh fruit, which is not fresh anymore. It's old fruit. It'd be cantaloupes, apples, oranges, peaches, strawberries, and lettuce and stuff like that. And they be acting a fool, apples and oranges, and nectarines and bananas and things like that. But they act a fool about that on that Wednesday. They'll line up around there, and they have that vulture mentality. I mean, one lady, she had a shopping bag. I call them ghetto bags because you use them to go to the laundromat. It's a laundromat bag. But we call them ghetto bags. And she had a ghetto bag, and she'd be reckoning in there. She was a real small person, and she'd be reckoning in there. So she'd be so heavy sometimes she can't lift the bag up. And everybody was talking about her because she showed a sign of greed. And she get first in line, and as soon as you say you can go for it, she'd jump into it. And one time I talked to her about it. That I was teasing her about it. In fact, I told her you was ready with your ghetto bag, and she got offended. You know, when you at the food bank, you cannot have thin skin. You got thin skin, you'll find yourself always getting your feelings hurt. And people are very sensitive. Even though she did have a ghetto bag, and she had that ghetto mentality about getting the food, she was in denial. She talking about, now, I don't do that. Everybody's sitting there watching you doing that, but you don't do that until you get called out for it. I was just teasing about it, she got offended. That's how thin people's skin is sometimes. That was her mentality. She would grab it and come back and get 2 or 3 of that stuff. And I know I have took some home. If you can't eat it in 1 or 2 days, you're going to have mold on it. So I don't know what the point is of grabbing all this stuff. Unless you got a real big family who's going to eat it within 2 or 3 days. Because after 2 or 3 days, it's molded. It's already old when you get it. It's on its last leg. So there's be plenty of it out there. And like I say, I stopped taking a whole lot home because I wouldn't eat it fast enough for it to be still good 2 or 3 days later. So I would end up throwing it away anyway. That's why it's called throwaway food. And that's what you get. You get throwaway food. So anyway, this lady right here got offended. And then she came around later on and realized that it wasn't about nothing. I was just making a comment about her having a ghetto mentality with that ghetto bag, swiping up all the fruit you can, and not trying to, let everybody else get a piece of the action. And that's how it is. I call it having the vulture mentality when it comes to that fruit on that Wednesday once a month. They got the vulture mentality. I see a person fall down into the pile of fruit because she lost her balance, trying to get in there and get that stuff out. So it's a big joke. It's funny to see, that's for sure. How people add rat to just free food and get that vulture mentality about themselves. So anyway, you got to come back and get the box on that Wednesday once a month. And a lot of times they have 2 or 3 pieces of meat in the box. The meat is your prime possession. If you get some good meat, you had a good day. And then they have other side stuff, but they don't have a whole lot of canned goods. I know it's about that place. They don't have a whole lot of canned goods. So I don't know where they get their forgotten harvest from, but they don't run a whole lot of canned goods. And then you gotta be there when they call your name for the box. You ain't there when they call your name for the box. And that's a 15-minute run on the box. So you wait 2 hours for 15 minutes. If you ain't there in that 15-minute window, that box, you miss out on your opportunity. They ain't gonna hold no box for you. They tell you up front, we do not hold boxes. We'll just double up with the volunteers, so we got somebody to give it to. So we're not gonna hold your boxes. Don't come up here half an hour later after we call names and ask nobody for no box. We do not hold boxes. You gotta be right on time when you sign in. You gotta be right on time when they unload the truck to get the fruit, and you gotta be right on time to get the box. If they don't hold no boxes for anybody, and they run through their process like that. So that's my one Wednesday run I can make. The other one is pretty consistent. They get their food from gleaners. They go out and buy their food and bring it in from gleaners. And they have a lot of canned goods with there. And they're every other Wednesday. And they run their program from 11 o'clock to 12:30, so they got a pretty good window of opportunity to get there. It's towards the afternoons, that's what I like. And there's a little distance to go, but not that far. And like I said, between 11 and 12:30, I can leave out my house at 12 o'clock and get there by 12:30 and be good to get a box. Get a bag, couple of bags. And they go by the size of your family, but they go by just you signing a piece of paper. All you got to do is sign in. They don't check and see how many people in your family. So they don't do all that checking like some other places do. That's the second Wednesday I can go to. Then I added on a third Wednesday, which is the only Wednesday, a food bank I go to that's not a church. It's a community center I go to. And it's a public housing community center in the neighborhood. And I go there, and they give out a lot of canned goods. Now you heavy with canned goods there. So you got two places that do canned goods on Wednesdays. They are on an on-call basis. They will, once you get on their list, they call it list, they will notify you by email that they have the food bank that day, and they between 1 and 2:30. So they're an afternoon event, which is perfect for me. And the same thing, you got to line up and get a number. And then you make your rounds. And you got to be there in that time when Franny get your number, call 1 through 10, you got to be in that group. 10 through 20, you got to be in that group. You get your number of minutes, you're supposed to start over again. But a lot of times they know you, they'll let you slide in front of another group. So they run at 10 at a time. They only have about 70, 80 people. The other one will have about 20 to 30 with the other Wednesday with a lot of canned goods at that church. And when you sign in early, they top out around, used to be 30, but now they around 25 people. So when they top out, they cut it off. And they don't want nobody, they don't let nobody else sign in. So they don't want no more confusion. Even though, people will be anxious about getting in front of them in line. They know if they don't sign in on time, they out until next week. They only run it once a week. And they run theirs once that Wednesday every other week, twice a month, second or fourth Wednesday of the month. If it's 3, 5 Wednesdays, it might be the third and fifth Wednesday. And the other one's on call. So it might be 2 times a month or it might be once a month. But you're on call for that one by way of a text message. So that's how you get information about that one. And I just got lucky and rolled by there, and they was standing outside, and I got in on that one. A lot of times you find out about food banks by word of mouth or by seeing a group of people in the crowd. They might be having a food bank or a giveaway. So that's my 3 Wednesdays. Sometimes I can do 2 Wednesdays at a time. I can't do all 3 events because they all around the same time frame, but I can do like the 11:30 to 12 and go good with the 1 to 2:30 event. The 2 o'clock, the other event don't go good with it. So when I do that Wednesday, I normally do the one at 11 o'clock to 1:30 to 12:30. Then I go there at 12:30 and get the truck. So I can double up. I used to be able to double up on Mondays. They had a 2 Mondays event, but they rotate that back to all late at 6 o'clock. So it all depends how the time frame is. Can you double up? But some days you can't double up and go to 2 events in one day. So that's what's happening on Wednesday. So I see my time is running down. Got about 40 seconds. A lot of time with this phone I have to sign in when I don't be on it for a long period of time. That's where the early delay came from. But other than that, this is the Wednesday this is the Wednesday layout. So now you know how it works on Wednesday. And from time to time, we'll tell you what happens with these events. It'll be by days of the week. That's how I'm going to label. And we're not going to try to use nobody's name. So later, Gator, and we'll talk to you next time.